let's talk about the Mayo Bowl because look, bro, I am dying for PJ Fleck to get some mayo dumped on his head, but we got to get the dub first. So we're going to preview a little bit about this matchup. Anything that you saw with this Virginia Tech team that you were concerned about, or you were like, yo, we need to think about this, or like, what are your thoughts on this Mayo Bowl right now?
I think this might be a blowout. Granted, okay.
Ooh.
Now all these predictions are barring any Gophers who hold out, don't play,
We're
whatever,
going
and
to talk about
just
that in a
decide
second.
not to
We're going
play,
to talk about that,
because
the
that's a
holdouts.
big factor.
Yep.
But who's going to play quarterback for Virginia Tech? They
Look,
ended
dude,
the season with like 2 hurt quarterbacks.
if you ask Virginia Tech fans, they said that one of them, and I quote, said, "Get ready to learn Pop Watson," like he was a language or an accelerated skill to learn. Like Pop Watson was the guy who stepped in at quarterback once Kyron Jones got hurt. So get ready to learn Pop Watson. Apparently, he's going to rip us a new one.
Pop Watson is a phenomenal name.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love to cheer for a Pop Watson at one point in my life. But
Come
I
on and
don't think
transfer to
Pop
Minnesota.
Watson.
We
I don't
can.
think Pop Watson wants to smoke from this defense.
Dude, I feel you. Like, here's the thing. When I look at this Virginia Tech team, I think this is a super interesting game because right now, if you look at the spread, it's 6.5 points in favor of Minnesota. So almost a full touchdown in favor of Minnesota. But if you look at ESPN's predictor, they think that Virginia Tech has a 51.5% chance of winning. Those two things don't add up for me, so that makes it interesting on its own. On top of that, if you just look at the stats of Virginia Tech, you might be like, yo, they might get scrubbed. But if you look at who they played and how close they played them, you can see that this is a team that hangs around, they fight, they're just a dangerous team, and that's what pops off on the film. So they're just like an anomaly. They're so hard to guess on for me. If you look at it, they had a 6-6 record. They are not a 6-6 type team. They might be one of the best 6-6 teams in the country. They were in 5 out of their 6 losses. It was by 1 score. In their 6th one, that wasn't a 1-score game. It was by 10 points. So it's like the lowest you could get almost before it's a 1 score. So like they've been in battles, and the losses were to Vanderbilt, who beat Bama, so they're a good team,
Vandy
right?
is no joke. Yep, no
Rutgers,
slouch.
who I can't talk trash about because they beat us. They shouldn't have, but they did. On top of that, they played Miami, who is the second team outside of the playoffs, I think. Like, they've been a top 15
Yeah,
team in the country all year. Syracuse, who had the #1 passer in the country this year when it came to passing yards. Clemson, who just won the ACC championship and is playing in the CFP, and then Duke, who had a really good year. Like, those were their losses. Those are all tough team losses. So how do you feel hearing that information?
that makes me a little more worried, but I'm still pretty confident. I don't know. Okay, so the Gophers go into it, winning our last, 4?
No, because
Oh,
2
no,
wins
because,
ago was
yeah,
Penn
never
State.
mind. Never mind. We
And the
were,
one before that was Rutgers lost. We've
oh,
we've won 1 of our last 3.
we're the same. We're the same. We're the same. I don't know why I'm so confident then. I'm still confident. I'm still confident. This defense is still good, and if everyone plays, I mean, I don't, other than, again, Cody Lindenberg, don't know if he's going to play, but most of our defense is probably going to play in the game.
I do think there's going to be some opt-outs. I don't think we've heard about them yet, but if I had to take a shot in the dark right now, I think Ja Joyner is not going to play in this game. I think Ariante Ursery is not going to play in this game. I think Daniel Jackson might not play in this game. And I think Justin Wally is not going to play in this game. Those are, like, I think the highest, most likely NFL guys from this Gophers team. And what we've seen in the last few years across the Gophers bowl games, our guys stick around, our guys travel with the team, but a lot of them don't play. Your brother didn't play. Tyler Nubin
No.
didn't play. Even before that, the year before that, John Michael Schmitz didn't play. Mo played like the first quarter, got a touchdown and broke a record, and then was like, I'm done. Like, I
Yeah,
think that these NFL guys aren't going to play. So Ja Joyner,
you're
Ariante
right.
Ursery, Daniel Jackson, Justin Wally, I'm counting them out. I'm saying they're not playing.
And we
Max
lost all
Grosvenor
those
said he's
games,
going
didn't
to.
we? And we lost all those games, didn't we? No, we didn't.
No,
No,
we
we
won those
didn't.
games. We won those games. You're right. You're right on
It
that
don't
front.
matter.
And
It
plus,
don't matter.
QB1 is playing. QB1 is
All we
playing.
do.
Quinn
Yes, see?
Carroll is playing. The biggest question marks, I think, Elijah Spencer. I think he'll play because, like, he's not a name that's really high on draft radars or anything like
You might
that. So,
need to
like,
play.
if you play and Daniel Jackson doesn't, you can be the number one in this game. Maybe you have a crazy bowl game and people are like, yo, who's this Elijah Spencer kid? Like, it's the perfect opportunity. And it's the Mayo Bowl. Like I said, people are
Like
tuning
it's
into it
on TV.
just because it's fun and somebody's getting Mayo dumped on their head. Like,
Yeah.
people want to know who's getting Mayo dumped on their head. So, like, eyeballs will be on the game. So, I think it's the perfect opportunity for, like, Elijah Spencer. Ethan Robinson, maybe he shows out as a number one cornerback if Justin Wally doesn't play. I think Kesich probably plays. Crawford probably plays. Like, you're not really worried about your kickers getting hurt in one final game. They're probably not doing enough to really exhaust themselves on that front.
Yeah.
I think Callerup is a guy who's culture guy, program guy. He's totally going to play. Henderson, I think, is a guy who could possibly play. And I even think Tyler Cooper, if he's healthy, could possibly play. So there's still a number of starters that I think could take a swing in this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not concerned. It's for some reason the Gophers just get up for those games. I don't know if it's the prep or what, but they come to play. And even those names you just listed of guys who are going to play, it kind of gives you a little bit of confidence. Oh, I don't know. It'll be different. I don't know. I think I like how bowl games are done so much different than normal away games because you go there and you kind of spend a few days in that town or where is it at? North Carolina, South Carolina?
It's in North Carolina, Charlotte.
North Carolina. You spend a few days there and kind of, hang out and kind of get a feel for the town and stuff. So you're not just in and out in a day. So I don't know. I think it's different. Bowl games are different and kids get up for them. So,
dog, we won a bowl game last year with our quarterback throwing 8 for 16 for 26 yards.
It doesn't even matter. See, we just win. All PJ does is win bowl games.
Darius Taylor popped off. I think Darius Taylor plays in this game.
Yeah.
So we got DT. We got Max Brosmer. We're good. We're
fine. Yeah. We got the guys. We got the guys we need.
And if anybody, Virginia Tech is listening, or people who are like, oh, you're not talking about Virginia Tech, so you don't know. I did do some research on Virginia Tech, and here's why I'm still not concerned. Their offense is centered around running the football, right? They were 30th in the nation, 187.1 yards per game. They were 100th in the passing game, and their number one quarterback is not in. Now, Pop Watson, I'm getting ready to learn Pop Watson, right? Pop Watson, he took over since the injury. He played in 2 games, 57% completion, 400 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The Virginia Tech fan base loves him. I'm not sure he's ready to see the Gophers defense and defensive coordinator. Their quarterback 1 through 9 weeks is Kyron Drones. He was dealing with an MCL, stress fracture, and turf toe. He's probably not going to play. Their number one running back. Right, he's missing a whole leg. He's like Anakin Skywalker out here in this.
It's crazy.
But overall, their running back was a dog. Tootin is his last name. Tootin, that's right. He had 1,159 yards. 1,159 yards and 15 touchdowns on the year. He's probably not playing in this game. I believe he committed for the draft. I don't think he's playing in this game. Those 2 players, Drones and Tootin, combined for 31 of their 42 touchdowns. That's 74% of their touchdowns. And they were 67% of their rushing yards for this 30th in the nation rushing team. That is far too much to lose in one game for me to be worried about this game. Now, if I look back, this is going to be terrible clip right here if we lose this game. But we're not going to lose this game, so I'm not worried about it. Now, the players to know Pop Watson. I'm still getting ready to learn Pop Watson. I know, I've said that 3 or 4 times now, but who says that? Get ready to learn. That's me. That's like me coming up and say, yo, get ready to learn Darius Taylor, homie. You got that DT phone home, homie. You know it? That's just crazy to me. Who says that? Also, if you're going to do it, I would just say, get ready to learn Tootin. Because, Tootin.
Tootin's great. This is all-time name team. Pop Watson and Tootin, this is crazy.
Dog, I'm with you. But overall, Pop Watson's a name to know. Ollie Jennings, dude is a baller. He played at a lower level and absolutely balled out multiple 1,000-yard years. They never give him the ball. He was averaging 25 yards per catch, and they've thrown him the ball 15 times. I'm like, what are you?
Deshaun Jackson. That sounds like Deshaun Jackson.
Right. But they're like, nah, it's cool. We won't throw you the ball. They also have their leading receiver playing in this game, so they do have some guys playing. Their defense is their biggest thing overall, but it's nothing I'm afraid of. 54th in total defense, 55th in pass defense, 56th in run defense, 37th in scoring defense. Like they're outside of the top 50 in most of those. They're really good at turnovers forced, but so are the Gophers, and they're really good at sacks, which the Gophers are not. So if you can
Yeah.
stop them from getting pressure on Max Brosmer, who's really good at reading the field and making decisions and not taking too many sacks, I think this is playing in the Gophers' favor. I'm ready to see PJ get dunked on in some Mayo, and let's go.
Thank you. These sound better. That end, we turned you around there because I was worried you were going to be on some Gophers have a tough one. We don't. We don't have a tough one. We'll be fine.
No, bro.
We'll be fine.
I just had to keep you on the edge of your seat. And for all those
You always
Virginia Tech fans that are going to come clamoring saying we didn't do any research, I just spit facts. So,
here's the thing, Virginia Tech fans. I promise I didn't do any research. How about that?
and he's still right.
Exactly. What's going on? Vibes alone.
All right. Yeah. I mean, overall, I'm more scared of the Penn State defense, Michigan defense, and Iowa defense. They looked really good against Penn State and Michigan. We're not going to talk about the Iowa game. So, overall, I'm excited about this game for the Gophers. But what are you looking forward to most in this bowl game?
I think with a bowl game, it's so tough because it's just vibes. It's just vibes alone. Like the big plays are so much bigger. Like the pops are so much big. Well, not that pop, but a big play. A big play happens and it just feels like it means a lot. Like, you got the guys who did opt out on the sidelines and they're cheering on these younger guys. They're coaching up these younger guys. And I think which I think is what bowl games are supposed to be, is really like a celebration of the year, because
Right.
you're not putting the Mayo Bowl trophy in your trophy case necessarily. You're not putting
Oh, they will.
most
They
bowl
will.
games. Okay.
They will.
Okay, they will. But I'm saying, I think it's a good celebration, just kind of cap off a year, especially in a year where the Gophers definitely overperformed what most people expected out of them. So I think I'm just excited for the environment.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think the environment's super fun. Look, it's one of the most watched bowl games that isn't a top tier bowl game.
Yes.
Even though it might not ring top tier, like it's fun. This one of the Pop-Tart Bowls, those are the ones I'm going to be sure to tap in on. I usually watch some Big Ten bowls. I'm absolutely going to watch Ohio State, and I hope they get smacked. But overall, like, I am excited about the Mayo Bowl. Now, the last question, we're going to wrap up on this question, are who are some young guys that you think could show out for Minnesota in this game? Because over the last few years, you've talked about it. The Gophers win bowl games. They find ways to do it. And we've talked about the number of guys that have that have opted out for the Gophers in the past, and they're usually those star NFL type players. But we've seen Ja Joyner get his first ever career sack in his first bowl game. We saw Coleman Bryson have a pick six and win the bowl game trophy. We saw Tyler Nubin ball out for his first bowl game. We saw Darius Taylor run for over 208 yards last year. Like, some young guys, one or two, maybe three, always pop off for the Gophers in this bowl game. So I want to know, who do you think those young guys could be?
The game, it absolutely screams for that boy Coy. Like,
Ooh.
it is it's doesn't, I can picture it like a punt return or a big pick six. Like, it does scream like, hey, hello world. Like by the end of the game, it's going to be another round of Gopher fans being like, are we sure he's not going to leave? Like, are you sure nobody saw it? Because it's gonna. I think that's how big this game is, and everyone's gonna exactly. But it's gonna be all eyes on, like you said, it's one of the highest watched games of the year, like a bowl game wise. So it's gonna be the whole country, all eyes on that boy Coy. It's gonna be great.
Coy Wonder, the Coy Pod.
Wonder.
But look, all the nicknames in the world, the dude's gonna ball out. I'm not gonna copy you there.
Yes.
I think it's a great answer. I have two guys I think could absolutely ball in this. I've mentioned them both in this show already. The first one I think could be Zaquan Bryan. Like I said, if Justin Wally doesn't play, maybe this is the opportunity for you to be like, look, we're all right at cornerback. Like, I got you. Last year in the bowl game, he got to play. He had a huge pass breakup, big hit on Harold Fannin Jr. Now, a lot of people at that time maybe didn't know too much about Harold Fannin Jr. Harold Fannin Jr. was tied for the best tight end in the country this year. Like, he laid a smack on this dude. I believe he knocked him out of the game. He knocked out a huge third down and long. That's the potential he has. He's fast. He lays big hits. Even in high school, I remember watching this hit he made on somebody that it was a funny video that someone took there. They're like, "Oh, that's my son. That's my son." And Zaquan popped the dude, like absolutely lit him up. And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's your son. That's your son." Like it was crazy. And I'm excited by him. I think he's going to ball out. And then the other one is New K's. I think if Daniel Jackson sits in this game, you find a way to get a younger guy involved. I told you he stepped up in the spring for Daniel Jackson. I think this is the time where you're like, look, come show the world. Come do it. Max Brosmer's here. If you run your routes, you separate, you do the Daniel Jackson route or roll, you're going to get the Daniel Jackson looks. Like, come show
No,
him.
there's a real world where New Case is my favorite player next year. There's a
Hey,
real world. Like if they can find a way to get him touches, I'm very